Welcome, folks. Today we're going to be talking about Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 2, Children of the Corn. Comet. Children of the Comet. Uh, and Uhura. That's how you say it, right? Uhura. Some people say Uhura. I don't even care. Like it either
Yeah,
way.
whatever.
It's like George Takei, George Takai. It's really Takei, though.
Tacky. I call him George Tacky.
Oh, my.
Not to insult him. I just think it's funny to say it that way.
What do you... I want to get your first thoughts on Uhura as a character in this. What did you think of her? Did she need the tragic backstory? Did that add anything to her character? Can she be a reluctant Starfleet officer without the shuttle accidents and explosions and whatever happens to most people in modern Trek?
When I saw that she had a tragic backstory, I was thinking of something that Ruben said like last week or maybe even like the week before about, tragic backstories. Like, let me like introduce you to my trauma. So that was like the first thing that I
I mean,
thought.
can I
But
say real quick, like you're at your first office party, and you're gonna bring that up? Really? Like really, guys?
but the thing
Like,
about
go
the
ahead.
thing about this ship is that they're very much a family. They seem like friends. Like they're at a party. Like she might have even been drinking booze, dude. And she like spilled all her beans. Are they drinking
Yeah,
at the hall on this ship, dude?
She's
Like
new
at
to
this time?
she's new to the ship because she's literally hazed or whatever. So she's brand new. She's not friends with anybody. There's
Mm.
no family, nothing. And then Pike is already a reluctant captain, supposedly, and now she's a reluctant cadet. And who's gonna be reluctant next? Like what?
well,
But I really like the actress. That actress
Yeah, the
is
actress is
so
great.
spunky. She was at Star Trek Chicago, and she was so like smart and like energetic and like engaging. So I was a fan of the actress to start, and I think that she is good. Like I like the youthful energy that she brings.
Yep.
Um, and I also like the development of Uhura. I say Uhura, dude. Don't judge me.
oh, it doesn't matter.
Um, but I like her character development in this story, dude.
Yeah, the actress Celia Gooding Jr. Is it?
I don't know. I haven't looked up her
There's a
name.
junior in there, I think.
Dude, you
Yeah,
thinking of Cuba Gooding Jr., dude?
no, Celia. There is a...
Let me see.
It's
Let me.
Celia
I
R.
got...
Gooding. It's
Oh,
Celia Rose Gooding.
Okay, there's a okay. I was adding a J with the R. Okay,
For me, I like her. I like the actress. I like
she's good.
the character for the most part, but it's super inconsistent in the episode if you're really paying attention. She's awkward at first for a half second. Then she's not really. Then she's sassy, but not really. But then it's like it's very uneven throughout the episode. So it's very hard to be like, who is this girl? I don't understand.
The way
When was she sassy, dude?
She does the Spock. Was that your version of a pep talk? Oh, like now you're confident sassy cadet. I thought you were nervous cadet. Like pick one. Like you can't be everything. You can't be everything at
that
once.
was played for a bit of a laugh though,
Right,
because
but it's
Spock's
sassy on her
reaction is
part
like,
considering.
I've been working on my pep talks, and then he gives another one, and it's a better one, and like, I get that part. I mean,
Like considering that 5 minutes earlier she was like transporter again, which I can't stand this idea in Star Trek. The transporters have been around for a long time. Like, why is every other character nervous about transporters? Okay,
what
we've
recent
had Bones,
character?
we've had Barkley, we've had now Uhura. Like, I'm sure there's one I'm forgetting, but like, it's like okay. And then what's the purpose of it? Nothing. It's just she's
You
nervous and then
know,
she's not.
well, I think she's a nervous cadet. It's like a lot of first for her. For one thing, she's reluctant. We get that. Backstory aside, I love that whole like dinner at the captain's quarters, which are fucking beautiful quarters, by the
The
way.
captain's mansion.
They really changed the dimensions from the original series. So like it very much is a reimagining in a sense that things are going to be dimensions are going to be very different. Like the hallways are bigger, but he has some sweet ass captain quarters, a great place, to gather and have dinner. And I like, you know, Pike is an interesting character because he's just so easygoing, and it's like, where's the anger? Where's the moxie? You know, you're waiting for something to happen where he's just like he snaps a bit or something. Like some of the toxic masculinity comes out of him or something. I'm not wanting him to be like that, but I'm saying like there's gonna be some like character flaw that they need to, not that they need to inject, but I think in the show, aside from this trauma that he's dealing with, because like Ruben said they might carry that through the whole season. I really don't want that. I don't want to see every episode be like previously on roar, melty face, and you know what happened on Borath and Discovery. Remember that? And it's like no. I think this way, like the whole thing about the comet knowing its own path or whatever. However, like that's weird Star Trek science mixed with kind of mysticism that I appreciate. I don't really question too much, but that really makes Pike kind of realize, you know, what's meant to be will be, even though number one is kind of saying, you know, you could change things, which is what I'm thinking. Like when you get to that situation with those cadets or whatever that where the accident happens, wouldn't you be like, wait, this is the thing. Let's stop and not do the thing that we're about to do and save us all, and damned be the consequences. You had a vision 6 years ago that you were all going to die, or he was going to save everybody, but he was going to basically almost die. Now, if you had that knowledge, you would change things, and like no, number one has a point in that, but it seems like at the end it's about Pike accepting it, where he like actually goes and looks up these people that he's going to save. Well, he says like 10 years. It's really not though. It's like 7 at the most. And they're like younger now, and he's gonna like what become, I don't think obsessed, but he's gonna become interested in these people who don't even know that he's looking them up, or like their socials or whatever it is at the time. He's looking at like their Facebook pictures. I don't know what it is, but so it seems like in this episode they're like, okay, now this part of the personal Pike arc is concluded. I don't want them to keep beating this dead horse, because we know what happened. We don't need to keep going back to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was.
Go ahead, Rex.
Go ahead, Ruben.
For the paper rock scissors. I was just saying, I kind of find it a little bit annoying because I mentioned in the chat, PJ, that in another chat, because I didn't want to spoil anything for Braxton in case he hadn't seen the rest of the episode. But like, it's annoying to me because it, and then on top of that, you're gonna add fate. So he's fated to die then and there, and that's it. So then he can now be like, I'm gonna go into the middle of our enemy's planet and start shooting everybody because I got plot armor beyond plot armor. It's weird. It diffuses. I don't know if they intend us being like, whoa, what's gonna happen to him in the future? But to me, it's more like, stop showing this.
I would hope that at some point something happens where he can't remember it, like that. And you know, I mean, others would have to kind of keep quiet about it too if they wanted to. If like if his memory had gone, but he's already told number one and other people like, hey, I know the names. These are the names of the people that I saved. If there was ever a point where either he chose to get his memory erased somehow, or something happened where he lost that knowledge.
Right, so it doesn't come up again.
Yeah, people would kind of have to be like, yeah, don't ever mention that.
I mean, I know this.
That'll fuck him up.
I know this is anti-canon and all that, but I kind of wish they would do something in an episode that tells them, no, all their fate talk is nonsense in a universe where we know there's a billion permutations of every version of our galaxy. So how can it be fate? If every choice makes a new universe, it can't be fate.
Well,
so they just say maybe you'd survive the burning, and that's it. I know that's anti-canon, and he can't survive the burning, but like, you know, something like along what you're saying, you know, just something along the lines that they deviate from it. Either he forgets it, or they just stop talking about it for like 3 episodes.
You know, I don't mind that storyline. You know, like I don't know, Captain Pike is so good. I like that he is not morally ambiguous at
Hmm.
all. And so like he's like the perfect man. Like, oh, the perfect man has a struggle with something, and it's this thing. Like I loved that scene when him and number one were talking at the end, and she was like, oh, like maybe your fate isn't predetermined. Like maybe you can change this. And then he goes and he like looks at like the pictures of those kids, and I think that he's probably gonna keep doing that. He's gonna have like a relationship with them. That he's gonna have a relationship with them. Even
Really,
though that they
like
don't know
before,
him.
like he'll reach out and say, like, I save your life in a couple of years.
No, I don't think that he'll
When
actually talk to them. I just think that he'll just be seeing them throughout their lives. And in the end, it will be easy for him to sacrifice his health for the future of these people because he would have been like watching them. He's kind of going to like grow to like love and value them.
do you think that in this episode, it seems like they've kind of wrapped it up or put it to bed for now because it seems like he has an acceptance of it kind of at the end.
I
I
think it's
can't
going to
see
come
them
back.
going in episode 3 and 4 and be like, oh, remember this? Because I said to Ruben before the show even came on, I said, just watch. We're going to be reminded of Pike's fate at least 82 times in the first 10 episodes. And so far it's been, I don't know how many times, 5, I guess,
No,
maybe.
I think they're gonna show it every episode, and the final episode is gonna have something to do with
It'll
that.
become it'll be the book syndrome. Booker from season 4 of Discovery. It was like, oh, I thought they're going to wrap up his whole trauma with his dead planet like midway through, and like it'll be about something else later, but that like his that whole thing carries off right until the end, like which it has meaning, but it just drags on. It's like I'm glad that this is episodic because I like the story. I mean, it's not, it didn't blow me away. It's like I like it like I like Discovery, but I like the characters and the setting and just everything just a little bit more than Discovery. But I'm still waiting for that breakout, standout episode where I'm like, oh, that was a fucking great episode of Strange New Worlds. So far, so good. I'm not gonna. I feel like I don't want to nitpick it as much as I did Picard because sometimes you like I go down a rabbit hole with that fucking show.
Well, it's not
As
egregiously bad as Picard.
yeah,
Picard is
well,
like objectively a bad show. It literally forgets its own things, like from one minute to the next, and you know.
I have a nitpick about that Shepherd guy. I discovered in After Trek, not after, is it After? Oh, the Ready Room. After Trek was the old one. That it's a practical makeup job. It's a animatronic top with the eyes, and it's a real guy's mouth, almost like Cad Bane and like
It looked terrible to me. The one on the view, the guy, the alien on the view screen,
mm,
that thing looked terrible to me. Everything else looked great. The space battles,
it
the
looked,
aliens in the beginning on the desert planet,
dude, dude.
phenomenal.
I thought that was a CGI effect that they covered with light glare and haze and just
Same here.
that
Mhm.
I thought it
I
was just to cover up the shittiness of the actual effect. Here, when you actually look at the guy, the real guy in the costume on set, it looks amazing, and they fuck it up by
terrible. To me, it
and
looked like they made a CG model and then put the guy's real lips onto it, and the
but
only thing real was the lips.
but
And I was just like, why is this happening right now? Why
the
does this
actual
look
product
when the
is.
first makeup looks so good? Why does this look like this?
Dude, I thought it looked pretty good, dude.
And then the
I didn't even have that nitpick.
oh no,
It just
those
I
lights
don't know.
pointing at you, so you can't really ever get a look at it, because there's two
It's
lights.
hazy and it's blurry and it's
Yeah,
unnecessary because the actual effect, the effort that the people put into
it's
making the
weird.
practical effect of the dude in an actual makeup combined with animatronics, which I always find fascinating. When you can do that, you can actually like
Yeah, yeah.
don't even use CG at all. Like there's no CG involved in that guy's
I bet that the
thing, and
practical,
they make it look fake the way they film it. It's so odd and
it's so
bizarre to me.
weird.
I don't know why. And besides the view screen, I have a problem with this fucking big wide viewed screen. and every time something comes up on the screen, there's like overlay and thing like it doesn't look clear. So when you're talking to somebody on the screen, it's not like the old days in TOS or TNG. TNG especially did it right because uh, when they would film from certain angles, the person on the screen, their angle would change as well. So which would indicate that the screen itself was it had depth to it. So if I was moving, if you were moving your head across your computer screen right now, it would have dimension that would move, like you were looking at 3D without the glasses, something like that. You know what I mean?
Right,
Which
right.
that technology James Cameron is actively trying to develop, like an actual screen that's looks hollow. It's a hollow screen basically, and
Hmm.
TNG didn't always do it, and I suppose it depended on who you communicated with, whether they had that compatible technology. But sometimes it was a flat kind of image, and it was distorted based on the angle, so it wasn't like a 3D image. But nowadays, it looks flat, stretched out, and with layering, and it's over rendered, and it looks bad. Now, the funny thing about that is the bridge is also very big. So
It's
when
huge.
Pike, so
Yeah.
when Pike has to go up and talk to somebody on the screen, he literally has to go from his seat and walk right up in front of the helms people on a platform, because it would be like sitting in the back row of a theater if he was talking and be like, "Hey," like he obviously wouldn't have to yell, but you know what I mean. Like he'd be too far away to have a comfortable conversation. He wants to get close, right? But anyway, that's a nitpick. But I do like the whole concept of the comet and them trying to stop it. It's very classic. And the poor people who are in the drought, the aliens on the planet, and you don't want them to get hurt. It's very it's nostalgia bait, I admit, and it works. It's formula, and I'm looking for formula. And I also like the dilemma on the rock with the singing. When the singing stuff started, and she's like humming, and Spock's like, "Oh, this is your voices." I'm like, is she gonna like sing a song like Girardi, or like "Shadows of the Night" and everything collapses? And I'm like, no, they didn't go that way. They handled it well. It was the right blend of the old school like oddball kind of like sci-fi mixed with, oh, this is kind of convoluted, but I can buy it because it's fun. You know what I
Well,
mean?
it's super contrived. Like,
Well, I mean,
if she doesn't
the
start
episodic
humming,
formats, they
nothing
have to solve
happens.
problems in a toot
I,
sweet. They
I
can't
mean, that's
take
my
weeks and
major
weeks, right?
problem with the episode. It has the Indiana Jones paradox. If they do nothing, nothing changes.
But it's all in the journey, my friend.
So it's like, this was so pointless.
You didn't have fun with the light show in the egg cave with the comet. What is it? A
With the giant face hugger egg,
The
Math,
what?
Math,
That's what it
the
with an
comet,
M.
Mahanith,
yeah, something like that.
Mahanit, Mahanit.
Mahanit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mahanit. Yeah. Uh, dude, Mahanit was so cool, dude. I thought the egg. I thought it was an egg. I mean, we still don't know what it is, but I thought it was an egg or something. But I thought the Mahanit was cool. Like the set looked amazing. Like that scene where she started like singing and Spock started singing with her. Like I
I
remember
liked it.
thinking, dude, it was a good scene. But I remember thinking like, oh, like, this is like a good episode of Star Trek. This is like solid, like, but I don't feel like it's exciting. And then, Ortega started like driving the ship like she stole it, dude. And then I was like, ooh, wow, this is exciting. And then like Spock was in the shuttlecraft, dude, and like and and he like scraped up against those rocks, dude. I was like, oh my gosh, dude, is like Spock like injured, you know? And then like everything is cool. But those scenes were like super exciting to me. Like, we were having a good episode of Star Trek, and then they leveled up. You know, I really enjoyed those scenes, dude.
I like the pacing and the action, and there's like a sense of urgency and stuff. There's not so much the sense of danger because this huge ship, which they clearly established, could just wipe them out like that.
And come out
They,
of
they,
nowhere undetected.
and they get through it with the evasive maneuvers, which I appreciate that they show, like the movement and like how the ship like avoids getting hit and stuff like that. Uh, but Pike says, I just want to point out a few like cheesy lines Pike says, and this is what makes me think the character himself is a goof, a lovable goof, but a bit of a goof, where he's like, Uhura mentions, where's she from? Kenya, and Pike mentioned in the previous episode that he was there with Mbenga, and he says the landscapes were achingly beautiful. I don't know why this is a phrase that people use.
Yeah,
I've noticed in the
painfully
last 5
beautiful.
years where somebody will say like aching beauty, aching. It's like if the beauty's aching, take care of it. Like go into a room somewhere and take care of that ache. Because if something's so beautiful that it's making you ache, then it's something else. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, that's hilarious.
there's another line too with it's in the old trailers and stuff for the first trailers where he's like, I love this job. I'm like, shut up, Dad. Like that's what you think. Like,
Yeah, it's little moments like that. I'm
it's
like,
like
why?
it
Why?
almost like dad moments, you know, like
Like why?
really.
Why does that need to be there? Why? What?
But I don't dislike him. That's the thing. I love this.
No,
I
no,
actually
yeah.
like the crew. I like Ortega's and non non.
Lawn,
Mhm.
And you
lawn.
know, it's amazing that I'm actually learning their names only 2 episodes in. When in
Mhm.
Discovery,
Well, I
I didn't
mean,
know who
right.
Bryce and Reese and Wishikun and like it took me a long time to figure out.
That's my main thing that I'll say about this show. It does almost everything, pretty much everything, actually, better than the two previous live action shows. Like you care
But
about
it is built
all
on the
these characters
backbone of those
already
shows
have
too, right?
all these characters already have a sense of who they are, as opposed to like Rios. Oh, Rios likes the past. Like, okay, I don't know. He seemed pretty cool with the future. Like it's like you don't you know what I mean. Discovery 2 seasons that I watched, I couldn't tell you the name of anybody except Stamets. That's about pretty much it. And Tilly. And other than that, Michael, Tilly, Stamets. Everybody else is like a blur. Oh, and you don't barely know anything about Saru. He's a species that people almost that evolved to not die or something. I don't know. But like this show, you instantly connect with all of them. They all have a sort of personality that is easily recognizable.
Yeah.
Um,
La'an is a
and the
really
pacing,
good character.
the pacing is phenomenal on this show compared to Picard and Discovery. You know,
La'an had a good line where she's like, they ask her to sing, and she's like, "No, I'll break the, I'll burn the. What did she say? I'll destroy the place or something."
Mhm.
Yeah. La'an is so good, dude. Like
Yeah, yeah, she's cool.
I'm really looking forward to possibly potentially seeing her softer side. I would really like her to be in a relationship so we could see her like so we could see like something else from her other than that like a very like hard like security
I don't know if I should spoil
officer.
anything for season 2 of Strange New Worlds, but
Her and Ortega's?
no. Uh,
I like the idea though.
it's the brother of one of the guys on the away mission.
Oh, really? Oh,
It seems. I don't know for sure, but
They're already doing a season
Wow.
two.
yeah, with Kirk is in it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They
Oh,
had
that's cool.
they had this photos. He's only the actor in costume has only been pictured with La'an, and it one picture indicates that they may be like in a relationship. So I don't know how that's going to work.
But Captain Kirk can like get anybody in bed. So hey, even a hard nut like her, dude.
What did you guys think of Samuel Kirk and his like red shirt moment?
I
I'm
can't.
like when he
I,
starts like going on the thing, he's like Yahtzee. I'm like, dude, you're about to get electrocuted and thrown across that room. Boom. The thought wasn't even like through my head and it happened. I'm like, oh yeah.
he is my least favorite character. He looks like a parody of Sam Rockwell's character from Galaxy Quest.
The guy I was thinking that too. Holy
Yeah, he
shit.
looks like a poor
Yep.
man. Like they're, I don't know. And then that scene where he gets thrown around, I'm like, I know there's oxygen in the space, but if the dude broke his neck and you take off his helmet, you just killed him. So you don't take off a dude's helmet in an emergency situation. You try to get him back to the ship first and foremost. You do
So,
not take off his helmet.
somebody pointed out that Sam Kirk in the on Starfleet Boys Spaces just then before this.
Mhm.
Somebody pointed out that Sam Kirk in the original series, when you see him, it's just William Shatner with a mustache.
Mhm.
He plays his own brother for like the second you see him dead. So like mirror that's like I guess that's why Sam has the mustache because the dude who plays Sam Kirk looks like he could very well be a brother of Paul Wesley Ship, I think his name is.
Oh,
The guy who
yeah,
plays.
Paul Wesley. Yeah.
Is his
You
last
know,
name
and the
Ship?
No, Ship is you're thinking of the guy who played Flash in the '90s. John Wesley Ship. Yeah,
I'm mixing
Paul
up
Wesley,
actors.
John Wesley Ships. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's funny. As soon as you
I
said, it,
too
I was
mixed
like,
those
"No,
two
you're mixing.
guys.
Yeah, you're mixing up two guys."
We get to meet Hemner and get to see a little bit of his sarcastic bastard personality. Like he's a bit of a saucy fucker.
yeah, he
Uh,
is, dude.
I like that instantly kind of like, oh, I'm gonna like this guy because he's gonna tell it like it is, and how Nan's like, it'll take us an hour to do the refit on the the sheet, whatever it was, and he's
Oh,
like,
the
yeah,
torpedoes.
rosy
Yeah.
assessment considering I'm doing the work. Like he was short of saying like the word bitch, you know. Like
Well, too, yeah, yeah. I mean, nitpickiness. It's weird that she would be the one making that assessment when he is the one that's going to be doing it. So shouldn't he be the one reporting on? She's security, right?
well,
So like, but whatever. That's
I also
nitpicky
laughed at
shit.
the part
I'm not
where
gonna
he meets Uhura in the first part, first scene with the dinner,
with the knife. Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm kind of just amused by this old trope of blind character. Therefore, all of their senses are like daredevil level kind of
Or Rutger
abilities,
Hauer's
right?
Blind Fury.
Blind Fury.
all
There you go.
Amazing
all their
film.
senses are heightened, dude.
Is
Yeah.
that the one with Rutger Hauer?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Where he's like a samurai, but he's blind. He's like a
yeah.
Vietnam vet, but he also is a samurai.
Did you ever see Hobo with a Shotgun?
Yeah, yeah.
It was filmed in Nova Scotia. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, is there much else? Did we miss anything? Any other cheesy lines?
Like, I
Um,
wonder if you could like,
I'm looking at my notes.
if like to like incapacitate him, like, could you like put him in handcuffs, but then also like tie up his like antenna, or like put like socks on him or something? Like that would be like blindfolding him if you put socks on his antenna, dude, and like
Yeah,
immobilize them so they couldn't like
He's
move
such a jerk,
and like
Paxton.
sense vibrations, dude. Like, no, I'm serious, dude. I'm gonna blindfold you, bitch. And then you like put some like take your socks off and like put your socks like on his antenna, dude.
Kinky hammer time. Ooh,
you could do
baby.
like Osira and just cut him off.
Oh, the
No,
cruelty,
that'd be too
DJ.
cruel. You don't want anything to happen to
Cruelty.
Hemner. You know, I was thinking like, if they could, because sometimes seasons of a TV show will like kill off one of the characters for like dramatic, whatever, even though they're never dead in anything anymore when they die. Like Marvel or Star Trek, it's like, no, there's a million permutations of somebody. So uh, I can't think of any character they'd be willing to get rid of except for Sam Kirk. And I know they can't do that because he dies so many years later, but I don't trust that they'll. You know what I mean? If they did, I would be like, oh, people would be like, oh my god, they fucked with canon, and people would be like screaming at. I'm like,
Well,
you
that's
didn't. Well, what does it matter at this point? It's all a complete. People who tell me it's not a reboot. It's all connective canon. It all makes total sense. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Stop fooling yourselves, people. This is a reimagining. You have to like,
Mhm.
even like some. I'll point out like Trek Yards. God bless them. They're still at a point now where like it'll. This is how you connect it later on. You shrink the halls, you make them more square like the 60s, and you make everything look like. I think the shape of the Enterprise itself could, at the end of the series, evolve to the exact dimensions that it looked like in the TOS. And that's probably as far as you could go with it, because the exact dimensions of the original TOS Enterprise are perfect and beautiful and should never have been. I get that it was changed for the movies, but like when you're going back and you're shown like the actual canon Enterprise, this is a reimagined version. But I don't think they'll ever get to a point where everything's going to add up. And it can't possibly, because it's a
no, they can't.
different time. It's like,
It's a porridge. It's like
I know
a,
people who are so strict about it. They're like, you know how Star Trek Continues? You know that fan film series
yeah, yeah.
that had Delancey in it and stuff like that? People are like, no, that's how you do it. I'm like, no, that's how you pay tribute to a style. That's not how you continue. What the problem is, stop going back and redoing the past what's already been done. You know they're going to go next and redo TOS. I mean, it's fucking inevitable. I can see it right now.
I mean, I kind of just prefer if Strange New Worlds was in effect a reboot and just creates
Go
its
on from
own
there.
new canon inspired by the old canon. I mean, that was one of the things I admired really about the J.J. Abrams movie in 2009. He set it up so that you could now mess with the canon, really retell the canon in whole new ways, do the
Yeah,
Khan story but in a different way, because it was all set in
a
an
much
opposite
worse
universe.
way than anyone could possibly
Well,
imagine. But
yeah,
yes,
no, for sure, for sure. But like he set it up so that you could have fun with it and not disrespect anything that came before, or not have to worry about the spaghetti of like, oh, does this connect to episode 3 of TNG? Oh no, but then in episode 12 they say this. Oh, but then and it's like that's the writers have a go through a conniption fit trying to do with that. That's why I liked what J.J. Abrams did. This is kind of weird to me because it's like I don't really care about canon in the sense that I know canon is kind of irrelevant because it can change on a whim. Like whatever writers next and whatever the creators want to do, they'll do. So the canon being so in love with the canon is kind of pointless in a way. But like I just wish. But I still like even when I see something, I'm like, but they said that doesn't really match up now, and then I get annoyed because I'm like, I'm not trying to do this puzzle game. I'm just trying to watch a TV show and get entertained by a story.
it's like if you watch Relics after the events of Generations, and Scotty's like, I just saw Kirk before or whatever. He's like, no, you didn't. That's impossible. What is this, a different timeline? You know, I mean, it's. But here's the thing: just stop. Just go 25th century from now on. Like if
I mean, again,
they're gonna
look
do a Starfleet Academy.
what
Don't do it
TNG
in
did.
Strange New Worlds
Learn from
times.
TNG. TNG moved the franchise forward.
Forward, yeah,
Had a passing of the torch moment with Bones and Data, and
yeah.
that was beautiful. And then every once in a while, a little fan service here and there, and a little connection to Spock with the whatchamacallit, reunion, uh, and stuff like that. Whereas this now, like no matter what Strange New Worlds does, it's kind of stuck in this world where they every once in a while they have to throw in some canon and connect it to this and
Well, besides that, you certain characters like Uhura and Pike, you know where they go. They don't know. I mean, Pike does, but Uhura,
right.
like the actress said, you know, she's. You have to keep in mind she doesn't know like the legend she will be and like the adventure she will go on. So like her being so kind of nervous and new to it, and I know it's a little tacky, but everybody's saying like you can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? Like believe in yourself and like with Spock with the pep talks. I mean that
Well,
was
I like the exchanges between her being the reluctant cadet and the way like Spock advised her not to leave Starfleet, but just consider, hey, if you don't want to be here, there's a lot of people who do. You know what I mean?
yeah. I
And so I
like that
like
he
that because it was
addressed that. Yeah,
very mature and it was very Star Trek the way they kind of interacted. The way Spike said, hey, I hope you stay because you seem awesome,
he
but if
said
not,
Spike.
sorry, I just finished Buffy for like the 20th time. So Pike, tells her, hey, I respect your honesty, and if you want, we hope you stay. But if not, I hope you find like it was so like yeah, that's Star Trek to me. Like they're just
Yeah,
very level, you know,
and
and I really like that. Yeah,
the whole exchange in the first dinner scene, aside from where she's like, "Oh yeah," and tragedy happened and blah blah blah. Even in that moment, everybody's just kind of everybody feels natural and supportive and non
and just
like
listening, right? Yeah.
like they like the whole hazing thing. Like hazing to me is a very American concept that to me involves like obnoxious Yale students paddling each other or something. So like in this context, hazing is like, oh, I just made you wear your uniform. It's like such a harmless, almost like a cute little
Right,
joke
right.
that would annoy a person, but probably wouldn't really like hurt their feelings. And this kind of banter and like informal kind of interaction, you, it's essential to to liking the characters so that when they're in the tense situations, you get a better sense of them as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, also, um, I like Spock, and the whole thing where he kind of criticizes her at first. Just being honest, like if you don't want to be here, make room. And then later, that comes full circle, and he
Mm-hmm.
tells her again, and gives her that confidence boost. There's a lot of that to where I can see would rub people wrong way. Like, what the hell is this person doing? And start if they're so nervous and jittery, and what you point out, like the transporter and stuff. But I think this episode in particular was about her getting over that, and I liked her journey in the episode, and that was the crux of like the appeal of it. And I ended up liking her character a lot more. I'm very apprehensive about redoing characters that I grew up watching. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't know how I'll feel, but when you get the right person, it works. So
I like the idea of the journey, the idea of her going to this journey, but I don't feel like they really executed it particularly well. Like she's just nervous and then she's not.
yeah.
And
Do you
then
think it's a
her
little too
actions don't
formulaic,
really.
like a little too Friday night television kind of thing?
Yeah, it's
Where
just
it's playing it safe.
she's just not nervous by the end. Like there's no real. She doesn't earn it in any real sincere way, or like have to confront a fear and then overcome
Uh,
it.
I don't know about that because the whole trauma thing. I don't know. I've read a certain review that reviewed vaguely the 5 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and they talked about a character who it was an annoying aspect of the episode for the reviewer. In a later episode, a character can't do a thing because, and I guess the character literally says, "I'm trauma blocked," and I'm thinking that might be Uhura, where somebody like it could be something with a shuttle or something that brings back a memory of the trauma where like I think the character is still going to have issues and on her journey throughout, and I think that tragic backstory was put there to have those fucking stupid moments and everything. They do in Halo too. I mean, I'm 3 episodes into Halo, and I'm already annoyed. I
I
mean,
already
I
stopped
like it.
watching.
I do like it, but I'm getting annoyed with like I gotta touch the artifact and have flashes back to some kind of childhood
I
memory
stopped watching that
that you can't
too.
really figure out. And it's like, how long are we gonna do this? It's just like Picard with, or like the Abnimation in season 1 of Picard, with the like vaguely flashing shit. But we know her story, so like I don't want them to keep going back on it unless it really means something to the story. But I mean, we will have those serialized character arcs. I just hope they're not like too simplistic and formulaic. Uh, but yeah, fucking Pike, man, he's a cornball. I'm looking forward to. I'm actually. I like it because I'm looking forward to the kind of corny dad shit he's gonna say. He's a very 2022 like progressive dad type. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the sensitive, I'm gonna listen to you, I'm gonna help you, and he's all about suggestions. He's basically the captain who's like, okay, what do we do? What do we do?
Well, I
What do we
like
do,
that.
guys?
You
I
know,
like that. I like
yeah,
that, but I want like a little more like of
yeah.
I've got an idea, crew. Your captain have an idea now. But yeah, that's I'm just I'm busting his balls, but I like him. He's cool. Number one is good too. Number one is like a Kira character where like it's like gender isn't even a thing. Like you can't. It's like she's uh, a lot of the characters like that where you could have cast a man or a woman or anybody. It's not about like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm saying the wrong thing, but
I mean, her to me, she's the character I think to me so far that's really had the least amount of interest to me as far as the main bridge crew.
episode 3 we're gonna have
But
explore her character apparently.
yeah, I feel like they're gonna do a couple characters every episode. So
What I was trying to say is I love strong women.
Dude, Rebecca
When
Romaine has been kick ass. I
but
think
Rebecca
in that role, dude.
Rebecca Romaine can like pick me up and like throw me.
I
Dude, like
want
I
to see the
loved
Ortegas episode, whenever that comes.
her, at the console with Ortegas and like navigating, dude, and at the end, she was like, being Captain Pike's ear, and she was like trying to like encourage him to like make him think that he will be able to change his future, dude. Like I feel like she's like a rock, dude. Like, I see what you mean, like when you say that
Like
her
his
character
Chakotay.
feels. Mhm. Her character feels gender neutral. Like a
Yeah,
man could play that character as well. But I kind of like
Or
uh,
gender irrelevant.
a
gender irrelevant
cool.
is a good yeah.
I like a cool, icy character. You know, um, I like that about her, and I think that Rebecca Romaine is really kicking this role's ass, dude. I think that she's really good.
There was a moment with I thought it was the way it was shot because it actually I like when things happen in a show and from the way it's shot without even like words I'm like this is going to lead to a conversation later, and it's the part where a nurse Chapel is giving the injections and she's kind of flirting with Spock,
Hmm.
and they make it a point
Foreshadowing.
they make it a point to show that
Hmm.
Uhura is observing this, right? And like she's gonna talk about she's gonna bring this up with him later, and then the conversation happens. They're like, there you go. And he's like, she's not my girlfriend. And she's like, yeah, it was a joke. And their relationship is like kind of like contentious, but that's the journey. You know what I mean? Like you get the sarcasm and the quips, and then the stupid pep talk where she's like, you said,
Well, that lines
so she's
up
like, that's
too
not a very
with
good, she's like kind of
that lines
sass.
up too with TOS too, when like Uhura would say, something about Vulcan's moon, and then Spock is like, but Uhura, Vulcan has no moon, and they'd have those little
Oh yeah.
moments back in the TOS if you think about it. So it's
Mm.
interesting they carried that over. I didn't personally like the girlfriend thing because I just didn't like the way it was, like the phrasing of that. It all of a sudden sounded like a CW show.
Oh come on, people will say girlfriend. You know,
Spock. Spock
she's
would
not.
not say girl. She is not my. He would say something more
We are not having
interesting.
coitus.
He would say something a little bit more interesting than just.
Uh,
She's not my girlfriend. Like, oh Jesus Christ! Like, really? These people are like hyper trained, super smart, like
but
best
she,
of the best. She's
but she
not my
know
girlfriend.
she noticed the flirting and she wanted to tease Spock. And yeah, Spock was like, "Yeah, shit up." The human side came out, right? But
Yeah, I
no,
guess right.
yeah, and we're gonna wrap it up about there. So as soon as we got one viewer, we're gonna wrap it up.
I mean, I do want to say a few things. Like, I don't mean these aren't a big deal. It's just, I guess, kind of things that are like, why can't you guys get
Why
this?
can't you just love it?
Like if you start the episode with Ahura's log, then you're telling me it's an Ahura episode, but then you don't end with Ahura's log. Like it's kind of
Sure,
weird. Like
yeah.
there's no, just those kind of like weird little structural things. And I'm like, there's some weird editing moments. Like there's a moment where they cut to Ortegas during the battle scene, and there's like, why did you have to show me her face for a second and a half? Like, what was the purpose?
Reaction shot.
No, but it wasn't even. She didn't even react. She was just like looking. Like she's
She's
just,
She's
focused.
yeah.
concentrating,
It was
dude.
just her focused, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, okay, whatever. Those are just little like things though that don't really. Right, they don't
Yeah,
detract
can I
from.
can I ask you one thing?
Mhm.
From what you've seen, do you think the show has like the blueprint to continuously improve and actually be, eventually find its identity aside from like the nostalgia formulaic kind of thing they're doing now, which is essential because that's what people want and ask for, and that's what we're getting. But I think the show will eventually evolve into more like maybe 2 and 3 parts and stuff like that. Not that anybody's complaining about the episodic format. It's just that it is kind of an older, antiquated kind of formula and format that they're doing, and sometimes like you run the risk of having it be old familiar worlds rather than strange new ones, where it's like the whole thing with this going through the asteroids and the whole thing with rocks flying by and barely hitting the thing. I've seen that 4 or 5 times now since 2009 at least. That exact same kind of visual effects sequence, just
Right,
with
right,
different objects going through it.
right, right. It's
I'm
almost
like,
like
this. This is okay. This is the Comet episode. Sure, I'll accept it now. But if like we get another episode where like we're doing the kind of same,
it's
like
almost like there's a
narrowly avoiding a million fucking things,
it's almost like
sure,
there's a scene by
maybe,
numbers, and then
yeah,
they just paste it onto their story and paint it whatever colors they need, you know. And that's a Enterprise and this and yeah. I mean, of course, I always think any show can improve. I don't think the formulaic, the episodic television is as antiquated as a lot of people think. Because if you really consider things like that are on TV still, like NCIS and Bull and these like Law and Order, they're all episodic and they're
yeah,
massively popular. And
Mhm.
so it's not a dead formula. Number one, and number two,
massively popular with senior citizens. Yes,
well, I mean, wait,
there you go. And
who's
there's a
watching
big,
Star Trek? A bunch of old people because it's not
it's a
really
big
young
demographic
people.
too.
People in their 40s like us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
PJ,
So,
you're not in your 40s.
but no, but I
Not
mean,
yet, no.
even things like Black Mirror, you have, but even within shows that are considered serialized, if you're actually paying attention to to the episodes individually, there's a story that wraps up within that episode in some way or another that then pushes the main story forward.
Like I said, NYPD Blue last week is a good example of that, where the
Right,
characters had season long arcs, but it was always a singular issue in a story that got resolved by the end.
right. And
Yeah, there's a balance there too, right? Yeah, you can do both.
so I definitely think the show. I mean, to me, this is the show they should have done 5 years ago. Like they should have never done Discovery. They should have done if they were going to do a prequel, like Discovery was anyway. Then they should have done this. But whatever, it's all what's done is done, and we're here now. I think the show could improve definitely. I think once they get more used to kind of the stricter episodic formula they're going for in this for streaming services, and then even branch out from that, like we just said. You don't have to stick to this strict like episodic formula. You could do 2-part episodes, you could do 3-part episodes. Why not?
I think at least one story in this, like maybe the last 2 episodes, would be like a two-parter, or they may do one of those season cliffhangers that wraps up in the episode 1 of season 2 or something,
I guess
like a best of both worlds.
I'll say it this way: they got a lot of the fundamentals done already. It looks great. The characters are all like they have something about them that you like them for some reason. Like I don't
They
know
have
what it is.
personalities.
Yeah, they all have something about them that you just connect to them. There's a lot of them too. There's like that you can have fun with. They have a lot of those fundamentals down. The little things like the structure shit I was talking about, that stuff you fix along the way. You can kind of improve along the way. But like, so yeah, I don't see why not. I don't see why not. To me, this isn't worse than episode 1. It's not better than episode 1.
It's about the same, yeah.
It's about the same, but I liked episode 1, so I like this one too. And all right, let's see where it goes. Fingers crossed.
Dude, I feel like we finally have a Star Trek show that unites the fans. Like, I feel like
I
I, like, Ruben, you are the only person that I have seen speak negatively about Strange New Worlds. And then you just said that you liked it, dude. So that
well,
feels,
yeah,
so this
yeah,
show to me is like candy, dude. Like, I don't think it's like real good, but it's feels like good, comfortable Star Trek, and the episodes are really good. Like
right.
it looks like amazing. I love the how like light the ship feels. The cast is good. You like the characters, like the
Hmm.
stories are solid. You know, um, I I'm on board, dude. I love the show. I think that this was a good episode. I can't wait to see more. You know, um, yeah.
You know what's kind of interesting? I guess in a way, it's because I know a lot of people rag on TNG season 1. I like TNG season 1, and in kind of the same ways as I'm liking this right now. Encounter at Farpoint wasn't the greatest episode in the world, but it
Hmm.
wasn't the worst. Like it was just there. It had some interesting ideas, and it had some goofy stuff. And then what the next episode was Naked Time, Naked Now,
Hmm.
which was a callback to the original series,
Yeah.
and then also not the worst episode in the world, not the best episode in the world. So we're kind of and then TNG slowly improved, and hopefully
Do you guys know has Discovery season 5 already started shooting?
Not that I know of.
I hope that they take something from the fans' reception to this show. Because the thing is, dude, Discovery could be out there in the 21st century doing exactly what Strange New Worlds is doing, and they could have like an episodic show that fans would like instead of having like a long story arc that in the end of 10 or 12 episodes end up being stupid. You know, I hope that the people who are producing and writing for Discovery see, you know, the success of Strange New Worlds and like what we think about it and will make changes to their show so that we like it more.
Well, the season has been figured out as far as Michelle Paradise says. Like they have, I believe, I don't know for sure. It's shortened to 10 episodes, so it's the shortest season of Discovery, and I think they're going to keep it another big serialized story. But it's probably going to be they're going to try to make it as different from what's come before. But I think it'll still be like
galaxy
like the way Picard
destroying
is.
thing.
Maybe not, but it'll still be. I don't know if it'll drag or not. It might be better paced.
It won't be as
But
bad as season 1 and season 2 of Picard. It can't be.
yeah, but
Here's
like
the interesting
season
thing
four
too.
could have been a little bit better if it was shortened to 10. You know what I mean? Like it
Mm,
didn't need those extra 3 episodes. Wait, no,
mm.
4, 11, 12, 30. Yeah, didn't need those extra 3 episodes. Uh, Discovery is best served uh, if they're going to do serialized, keep it to 10. Even Picard with just 10 still managed to really,
Oh
really
God.
drag. But that's a different show. It's different. So I don't know. And I honestly think it's going to be the last season. And it's not like I wish to end, but I think at this point in time in like streaming history, when you go 5 seasons, bravo. Like
That's a big
you've done a
deal,
good
yeah.
job.
I
If you
mean,
can wrap it up, because most only last 2 and 3 now.
yeah,
Streaming
it's the norm,
services
yeah.
don't care about continuing shows because it's not adding new subscribers. It's you know what I mean. Once Netflix starts getting into ad supported content, and when they change their format, uh,
Well, and shows that go
shows are going
longer
to
cost
become
more.
very dependent on. They're going to have to release ratings, and you know what I mean. They're going to have to show like advertisers, you're paying this much because this is how many people are watching the show, and based on that, shows that would normally last on Netflix only 3 seasons would probably go on more and more.
Well, yeah, and shows that keep continue on to get more and more expensive. So they like to keep it short to not let it start becoming a thing where it's pricey to keep all these actors and pay. And then if it get too popular, then you got to really shell out the money. It also helps with the hype train.
Yeah. All right. So the consensus is that Strange New Worlds is pretty okay, good, okay.
It's an interesting. But going back 1 second before we go, like I agree with Braxton. Like I do feel in a way like that Strange New Worlds is kind of the Mandalorian of Star Trek right now. It's because I have
Mm,
been watching the usual suspects on YouTube, but because I watch everybody, I like to watch the haters and the lovers and everybody in between, just to get a perspective on what everybody's talking about. And
Yeah.
like the haters are still hating for sure, but you can tell there's kind of like a little bluntness to there, like it's softened a little bit because the show's not egregiously bad like like some of the other shows have been.
dude,
I
there are
You
people
know,
in the community that don't like Strange New Worlds, dude.
oh, I mean the usual
uh,
suspects are still saying the usual things. I don't
It
want to say
just
a
seems
name
like a
because
love fest, dude. Like,
yeah.
oh,
I
oh,
don't
the
want to say a
usual
name because I don't want
suspects.
to give them,
Oh,
I don't want to give
yeah,
them airtime.
yeah,
We can talk
yeah.
about it off air, but like, yeah, no, the usual suspects are still doing, I mean, you have your kind of like haters, your lovers, and then the more kind of people who are in the middle, and they're all kind of in the same place for the most part. Although the people in the middle are like me, are more tuned to the loving because I'm enjoying it, And then the haters I could sense the haters are like struggling to hate the show. Like I mean, in my opinion, they're making up things. Like wokeness bullshit that like doesn't to me. I don't know. Maybe I just don't see that shit. I'm just an idiot. But
For the record, I love all the strong women on the show. I love them.
I
I
love
love that they're
every
strong
character
and they're women, and I love them.
except for Sam
I have
Kirk.
no objection.
Funny enough, the only character I hate is Samuel Kirk. Kill him already. Let's get that over with. Kill him already.
It's not because he's white, is it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
No,
it's because of the mustache. Actually.
It's the mustache. I know.
Yeah.
But Sam Kirk is very handsome. At the very least, he's like a little bit of man candy to like watch.
I just don't like him because he reminds me of Sam Rockwell. And
Did you
weird.
just objectify a person, Rex? No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Man candy?
Sorry.
I object, Your Honor. Case
dismissed.
Sorry. No. Yeah, I mean, it definitely has potential, and that's what I'm saying. Like we talking about, like I do look at a lot of different opinions very briefly most times because I'm like,
yeah. I mean, once they start getting into certain topics, I'm like, oh god, you guys are just not talking.
I won't say who, but I heard somebody like freak out about it. It's breaking canon that Boyce is in there. I'm like, okay. For one thing, the Cage took place in 2254. This is 5 years later. Boyce was 106 in that episode. You think he might have retired by then, like, and and some people were like, and then Dr. Mbenga, it's like that's woke. I'm like, why is Dr. Mbenga woke? Tell me, and then if they actually say it, you're like, then if they actually say it, you're like, well, I know what you're about, so fuck you. So. You know what I mean? Like I get that reaction to some. I'm not like voting thumbs up or thumb. I'm just simply skimming through kind of reactions, and surprisingly, sometimes I'm like, oh, this guy who's ripped on fucking everything. I'll just check him out for like 2 minutes, and then he's like, it's not bad. And sometimes when people who normally hate like a thing, they get some kind of negative reaction. Usually in the comments, like, I appreciate your honesty, but you're fucking wrong or something. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Like this is all bullshit. It's all the same writers that wrote this and that and the other thing. I'm like, you got to take these shows on a case by case basis. You really do, because they're not all made by the exact same people. They carry over in different areas and stuff like that, and different producers. But the one thing that Kurtzman trick to say is always trying to do is find talent. I mean, they do tend to have very good director. Olatunde Osusamni is a very striking visual director. Like you can if I didn't know he directed an episode of a certain Trek show, I could guess by the way it's filmed because he has a very unique visual style, which would actually probably work very well in like sci-fi movies and stuff like that, right? But I haven't looked at any of the directors of this episode or the writers. I'm not even interested in saying like this writer's from I don't know, some CW drama, which people tend to point out. They're like, this writer wrote Gilmore Girls. They fucking suck. I'm like, how do you know?
You should watch Gilmore Girls. That show's amazing. One of the best
I've never seen it. You know what I mean? Like
Gilmore Girls is amazing, bro. Like writing wise, on point.
Exactly.
A lot of Star Trek references.
The person who's saying this person wrote fucking Gilmore Girls. They suck. Probably never even watched an episode. You know what I mean? It's these kind of criticisms of like you're just shouting into the ether.
And you don't get to that level if you suck.
I know, I mean? Like
even if you have connections, even if you have whatever,
you
gotta at the end of the day write a script. You know what I mean? And that takes enough skill already to do.
Sometimes asking questions will trigger people too. I remember.
Yeah.
Remember when you pointed out about the Vulcans having transporters in the 21st century or the 20th century at that time in the flashback.
Right.
And I didn't really think about it at first. I'm like, and I brought it up on Twitter. I'm like, I find it weird. And somebody, was like, Father, I'll say he's very polite. He's a very good guy like that because he'll be like, well, we don't know. And Vulcans are very advanced for that time. And it makes sense. Good. I've asked the question, but some asshole always has to come along and say, "Do your fucking research." I'm like, I only asked the question. You're pegging me as somebody who's like shitting on that particular or being critical of that particular thing. But in reality, I'm so much harder on like 70 other things about the show that I don't actually mention on Twitter. So the fact that I just had the question, like, hey, Father, how does this make any sense? Yes, PJ, it makes sense. Good, thank you, Father. And then it was done, and somebody's like, I hate these people who do this, and they're referring to me, but they're not directly referring to me, right? I'm like, okay, it was done. Like, Father, he did the right thing and was polite about it, and you did the wrong thing and be fucking a prick about it. But that's Twitter. That's you
Yeah,
got to take it like it is.
yeah, and the thing is like if you're trying to be objective, I mean, there's no way you cannot deny that there's a significant improvement from what the haters hated about Discovery and what the haters hated about Picard to New Stranger Worlds. Stranger Worlds significantly improves a lot of the things that like, particularly just pacing wise.
I
There's
really
no
look
like
forward to watching it.
there's no like weird lulls in the episodes.
Yeah.
Everything's moving forward and progressing the story without any real weird stoppages or there's it's way more calm. Like I forget what scene it was early on. Oh, when they land on the asteroid, the comet for the first
Comment,
time,
yeah.
and they're just walking around and enjoying the scenery, like letting the viewer go, holy shit,
That
what would it be like to be on a fucking comet? And they're
that
just
AR
letting
wall
us.
looks the AR
Mhm.
wall technology works well too because you get the reflective light and like even like the movies like the Batman used all that. Like almost every outside thing you see in that movie, aside from that big funeral scene or whatever, is like AR wall. They did a lot of that indoors, and I didn't even know. You know what I mean? Because it
Wow,
just looked
really?
like yeah. Like whenever Batman and Catwoman were up on that roof, all of that is AR wall.
Right,
Uh,
well,
really?
Yeah. I thought they really filmed it in that time of day, right? I'm like, oh, they really had to get up early and really time it right. I didn't even think of the AR wall, but
yeah,
that
that's
really works
super.
to its
Yeah,
benefit.
a lot of digital sets are super common nowadays.
Uh, yeah, so
But yeah, no, I mean, it was pretty okay, good. That's my final review of Stranger Worlds episode 2. Pretty okay, good. Let's look for. Let's see what episode 3 is about.
Ruben, you can't wait for people to start crying, dude. You're like, oh,
Oh my
where's all
god.
the tears?
You know how happy I am that it's just like a conversation. Even when the dialogue is girlfriend and all that, even then it's like I, it bothers me for a second, but then it's just that 1 second. It
nobody's
doesn't.
screaming "Go, Ricky!" Come on, now.
Yeah, it's just like it's so calm. Even during the action scene, it was just like allowing us to look at it rather than it being like like everything up in your face constantly. You're just like, what is happening? I can't
I
even.
I, I want to fight in the cafeteria like how Culber confronted Shazad Latif's character. What was his name?
Your Ash
Tyler.
Tyler?
Tyler. I want to see him like that in Strange New Worlds. And like Spock is like Jerry, and Pike's like, "What are you talking about? I've been recently studying ancient Earth talk shows." No, that's too far. That's too much. But I like the crew, and I
Uh,
want to see. I want to see.
Yeah, I
I
want
want
to
to
see
go
more.
on the journey with these people and see where it goes next. And like I was gonna say, I now have 3 out of the 5 Star Trek shows that I actually look forward to watching. Because Discovery used to be that. In 4th season, I was like, I would often like wait later, like which would never happen. I would watch it all like as soon as I can. Prodigy, Lower Decks, and now Strange New Worlds are 3 out of those 5 that I actually really enjoy. Actually, wait for it to fucking pop up on the streaming service. So I mean, it's a good sign. But I think it's time to move on now from Picard and Discovery. Picard may have a last hurrah, hopefully. Discovery maybe its last have a last hurrah. Let's move on from it. Let's focus, and you don't necessarily have to have the 5 on at the same time. I mean, you could have 3 on it. So you have Lower Decks, Prodigy, and Strange New Worlds for a while. You know what I mean? Until the Academy show comes up. I
Section
don't think
31.
that may turn into a movie because Michelle Yeoh's like schedule. They're trying to make that into like maybe a streaming movie. Who knows? It may happen in 2030, 2032. Who knows? It's coming. They keep
It's
saying it.
coming. It's coming.
5 years later, it's like Black. It's like Black Adam. The Rock playing Black Adam. He was cast in what, like 2009
Yeah,
or
it was like
something.
forever ago, right?
But yeah. Until next time, folks. Live long and prosper. Thanks for joining us, and good night.